back to my channel. It's Megan and welcome to the top 10 books I read in 2022. These are either the start of a series or, in the case of two books here, the part of a saga. They don't really they're not like part of a specific series, but they are part of a greater whole, which you'll understand here in a second. So I never know whether to qualify them as their own book or a sequel unless it is a like specific direct sequel to something. So I do have a separate video coming on Friday for sequels, the top sequels of 2022, but these are the top 10 books that aren't sequels of 2022. And this year was truly the year of Asian mythology for me. It's definitely something I found that I really enjoy and love, and you'll see that pretty heavily in this top 10. Alright, so number 10 is, as I was saying, I wasn't sure whether to list it as a sequel or a companion or just its own book, but that is Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray. This is part of the Star Wars saga, and it's not like a direct sequel to any particular book, but it is part of a greater whole, and it follows the master and apprenticeship between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, and I just loved learning more about this specific pairing and how they like meshed and or didn't mesh, and how they came to grow into the like pair that they did become in Phantom Menace. So I really enjoyed this, and I hope to read more about their friendship and their like working together, I guess. I really loved learning about them, and I love Liam Neeson, so Qui-Gon is one of my favorites, and I love how did I forget his name? Oh my gosh, Obi-Wan, but like what's his actual name? I'm terrible with names, like actor names. I love both of these actors and I love these characters, so definitely hit a soft spot in my heart and definitely in my top 10. Next up at number 9 is Ray Bearer by Jordan Fuego. This is the Fairy Loot version. I forget if it's Fairy Loot or Illumicrate. I'm fairly certain it's Fairy Loot. Yep, Fairy Loot exclusive. This follows a young girl who has to she's like tasked with befriending the, I think it's emperor or like monarch of this society. To get close to them, you have to become part of their circle, but to be part of their circle, you trust them. And it is her job to like gain his trust and join his inner circle and then kill him. So she's like battling this inner turmoil of following her duty that her mother assigned her to kill this dude, and also like she grew up and trusted and became part of his circle, and like also battling like not wanting to do that. So it was such a good book. Highly recommend. Number 8 I don't own, but I really loved, and that was actually surprisingly a nonfiction, and that is Know My Name. This book is by Chanel Miller, and it tells Chanel's story in the experience of sexual assault, specifically with a very high profile case about a, I'm not even gonna say his name, but he was a swimmer and he was found assaulting her behind a bar like next to a dumpster, and these two guys saw him and he got off kind of easy because he was like a renowned swimmer and such a good boy, and just like absolutely sickening things. And it's like her experience going through that, and more importantly going through being part of the trial experience and like fighting for like justice, and it is so powerful, and it just really shows how screwed up our justice system is in the cases of sexual assault cases. I think it's a very important read. I think everyone should pick it up, and it's just a really powerful story about Chanel. Next up at number 7 is Little Thieves by Margaret Owen. This is interesting because it's a retelling, but it's a retelling from a different perspective. So this is like the Goose Girl type of fairy tale in which this character steals the identity of a princess, and the princess is left to be a commoner, and the like commoner is left to be the princess, and they have essentially switched places. But instead of following the princess like we normally do, we're following the person that actually stole her identity, which is super fun, and I really enjoyed this one. Such a fun retelling with a little bit of a twist. Next up at number 6 is Iron Widow. I actually own this somewhere, but I cannot find it on these shelves because everything is backwards. Oh my gosh, it's actually stressing me out. I think I've told you guys this before, but I actually have everything backwards that I have not read yet because I hate how it looks, and I'm hoping that it motivates me to read things quicker so that I can turn them around. That is why everything is backwards. But Iron Widow somewhere in this mess, and I cannot find it. But yeah, number 6 is Iron Widow, in which we are following a girl who has been told her whole life that she only has 2 options. She can either, 1, become a like wife and essentially produce children for the rest of her life, or 2, she can give up her life as a female pilot and essentially be the fuel of these male pilots like chrysalis engine things and die. So she has 2 options: become a wife or die. Obviously she's not happy with those 2 options and she wants to fight back. Her sister was actually used up as a female pilot and has been killed, and so she wants to seek revenge on the male pilot who used her, and so she offers herself up as a volunteer to fight back and to kill the male pilot who killed her sister. And it is just a fun, really cool action, war, battle, romance story. It does have a polyamorous relationship in it, which I thought was interesting, and I think it's just a really cool like Asian mythology action dystopian future novel. So I highly recommend that one. That was only one of the many Asian mythology books to come. Next up is number 5, which was The Liar's Crown by Abigail Owen. I received this in like a promotional kit from Entangled Teen. I had no idea it was coming. I had never heard about it before. I literally squealed when I saw it because this looks incredible. It sounds incredible. I literally teared up reading the synopsis because it sounds like everything I ever wanted, and it truly was such a good book. I'm so happy, so thankful to have received this. It is essentially following 2 twins. One is born to rule and one is born to like be the, not bodyguard, but body double, to go in dangerous situations so that the one that's ruling doesn't die. So one is born to rule, one is born to die essentially, and we are following the one that was born to die. And one day she is body doubling and the Shadow Prince or Shadow King or Shadow something comes and kidnaps her. And you guys, it is so good. Highly recommend. Please read this book. Next up, we have more Asian mythology. Coming in at number 4 is 6 Crimson Cranes, in which we are following the fairy tale where a young princess and her brothers, I guess, anger the stepmother, and the stepmother is an enchantress who turns the brothers into geese, or not geese, cranes. I don't know where geese came from. Maybe Goose Girl. But anyways, we're on 6 Crimson Cranes now. So she turns the 6 brothers into cranes, and then she puts this like bowl on the princess's head, and the princess can't see, and she can't, or rather people can't see her. I think she can see through the bowl, but people can't see who she is, so no one knows her identity. And then if she makes any sound, like if she speaks, one of the cranes will die. So she's not allowed to tell anybody either. So she's on this quest to save her brothers without being able to make a single sound, and it was so fascinating, and I really enjoyed this. So we have a princess in exile, a shape-shifting dragon, 6 enchanted cranes, and an unspeakable, haha, joke, curse. It will take more than magic to find their way home. Absolutely stunning. Loved this. Can't wait to read The Dragon's Promise, and highly recommend. I love how I get out of breath the more excited I get. Really love that for me. Coming in at number 3, we have Star Wars The High Republic, The Fallen Star. This is by Claudia Gray. I just noticed that both of my favorite Star Wars books of the year were by Claudia Gray. So Claudia Gray, you have a hold on my little Star Wars heart for sure. This one is following, I don't want to say because I feel like it spoils, but we're just following the events at Starlight Beacon. Absolutely heartbreaking, absolutely action-packed, absolutely wonderful, well-rounded story from start to finish. I love Claudia Gray's work. It's either Light of the Jedi or this one as my favorite High Republic book so far, but really enjoyed. And coming in for our last two, more Asian mythology, of course. Number 2 was The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is an adult fantasy novel that is so hard to explain. It is so complex, but it is so good. We're following Ren, who, similar to Iron Widow, has been told that she can either, one, become a wife or to go to become a soldier. Rin chooses to become a soldier. We are following like her training in the soldier army academy, and then also her part in the war. She has these magical powers as well, which is a really fun like addition to the novel. A really awesome, very complex, very detailed, really fun world building story. I read this at the beginning of the year and it kind of grasped me right from January on and has stuck with me. So I really highly recommend the Poppy War series if you like adult fantasy and war at all. And coming in at number 1, this is also Asian mythology. Like I said, Asian mythology had a full grasp on me this year. So number 1 was Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. This is following this young female who was born of the Moon Goddess. However, the Moon Goddess is not supposed to have anyone on this imprisoned island with her, on the moon with her. So she sends her daughter off to live in the like sun realm, I guess. And there's a love triangle, there's war, there's magic, there's romance. I adored this book. I loved both of the love interests. I think that all the characters were so fun, the plot was so fun. Yeah. All of these books, please read them. I'm so excited for Heart of the Sun Warrior. I cannot wait. But Daughter of the Moon Goddess was my favorite book of 2022. And look how stunning it is. Just everything about it makes my heart soar. Yes. Those were my top 10 of 2022 though. Let me know what your favorite books of 2022 were, and if you've read any of these, particularly if you like Asian mythology. I wonder if anyone else got into it as much as I did this last year. But stay tuned on Friday for my top sequels of the year, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye friends!